Hi, Steve.
Andy.
Hi.
Hiya.
Hi, where are you?
I am in Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, you're actually in Tokyo?
Yes, I live here.
I was going to say, Steve Harris is not really a conventional Japanese name, is it?
No, it's a very conventional American name.
You speak Japanese?
That's right. I've spent my entire adult life here because I'm a translator.
Ah.
Yeah.
Do you like the place? I've been twice to Japan, and it's an amazing place.
That's right. Yes, I'm aware of your visits here, and as for myself, it's basically my home now. It's hard to think of any other place as home.
It was like going to Venus. I mean, it's so different.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, once you've lived here for quite a while, it's really quite the same as any other place.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say that the Japanese seem related to the Scottish in some way. Their love of ritual and the clan system and the desire for whiskey and stuff. It's like Scotland of the Orient or something.
Well, I guess you could look at it that way, although I think they share a lot more in common with all people of the British Isles, at least from the point of view of a non-island person. There seems to be sort of an island mentality here.
Yeah,
it's in common with the island mentality over there.
Right, yeah, it's also that love of ritual, which is, the love of ritual seems to pervade everything the Japanese do, and probably pervades everything the English do as well.
That's right. Andy, this is actually the second time I'm talking to you, believe it or not. I interviewed you, I think, in 1982, right after Terry Chambers had bailed.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry to say I don't remember you, but I've done millions before and since, before that and since that. So
if you had remembered me, it would have been scary because I think that would be quite unexpected.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, it was a very long time ago. I think it was right after English Settlement came out.
That was a long time ago.
That's right. That was a couple of years back.
Well, Dobbin's still there. That horse actually went past that horse on the train this morning, so it's still there, languishing in chalk.
What is still languishing there?
The horse, the chalk horse on the front of English Settlement.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Yeah, that's an enormous chalk carving. It's on top of a hill, and it's about the length of a football pitch or so. Mm-hmm. And can really only be seen properly from the air. So I don't know why the Iron Age people that did it would have done it, unless they could have, seen it in some way. But it was thought to have been almost like a boundary marker or the equivalent of a dog pissing on a tree. It's like, this is my territory kind of thing. But it's carved out of the soil, and it exposes the white chalk. And it was supposed to have been done in Iron Age times. Mm-hmm. He's still there.
What is Iron Age? Just out of curiosity.
The Iron Age.
Oh, the Iron Age.
Sorry, my accent.
As Mark Twain said, two countries separated by the same language.
Exactly. Yeah, the Irony Age.
the Irony Age. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, the way this works, Andy, is I've been provided with a list of questions by a longtime XTC fan at one of the magazines here, Rocking On magazine. And I basically work from this set of questions here, sort of ad-libbing as I go along, or probing when necessary to use
use the medical term. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's basically how it works here. First of all, maybe we can clear the record up as to why you're doing interviews at this particular juncture.
Well, we've spent the last 4 years on strike, refusing to make any albums, because our contract was so loaded against us. I mean, seriously bad. I can't even begin to go into its appallingness. That as a concession for Virgin letting us go, they want to put out a couple of albums of past material, kind of wrapper-uppers, I suppose, of our Virgin part of our career. I feel as if we're maybe halfway through or whatever. It certainly hasn't finished. It's a way marker, if you see what I mean. Mm-hmm. So I agreed, perhaps rather foolishly, to come and talk about this old stuff, knowing very well that it's impossibly ludicrous to think that I can be enthusiastic about all of that old material. But it's like, somebody bringing out a pair of loon pants or whatever out of your closet and say, well, you liked these 19 years ago, But, yes, we've been on strike, so this is part of them letting us go. We have to agree that they can put out some compilations,
So if we can just cut to the chase for a moment here, did going on strike work? Have you achieved some sort of progress in terms of your status?
Well, that's why we haven't done anything in 4 years. We said, okay, we're not making you any more albums. You have to let us go. And they wouldn't, because we're making them money, but they're not making us any money. Mm-hmm. Our slice of the cake is so pitifully small that we actually spent 18 years before we went into profit, before we went into the black. The first 18 years of our career, we were in the red, which only happens because we have such an appalling deal. I was laid awake the other night, actually. It must have been about 4 in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And I figured out that, as a conservative estimate, we've probably made Virgin Records, my abilities have made Virgin Records between 25 million and 30 million pounds. And I still live in a little terraced house, and I have about 50,000 in the bank, most of which is already spent on tax. So that's some indication of how badly biased our contract was.
Why did it take so many years for you to wake up to that fact? I mean, couldn't you have gone on strike earlier?
Well, I think the first 5 years of our career, we were touring solidly, and at the times when we weren't touring, we were making albums. So that was so intense, the first 5 years were so intense that literally you had time to grab a change of T-shirt and scribble some lyrics on the back of a hotel bill or on a beer mat or whatever, and run into a studio. And so you thought more about keeping body and soul together and can I just find another song because we have 2 more numbers to go on the album or whatever, those were the 2 concerns. Keep body and soul together, eat, take an occasional bath, and write more songs. And it goes without saying that you were performing them nearly every night. When we stopped touring, we immediately began to look at the situation, firstly with our manager, who was exceptionally corrupt and had a very sneaky system where he double-billed everything. So he would say, for example, loan £100,000 off of Virgin Records to make an album with and to wage us for a while. We would spend all that on wages and making that album, and it would be paid back out of our pittance to Virgin Records from our royalties, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm, right.
But he would then double bill us. He would then bill us again for that 100,000, claiming that because it went through him and he handled it, that we owed it to him as well. So for every £1 that we borrowed to work our career, we had to pay £2 back. Mm-hmm. So that was the first. So we came off the road and started fighting that situation. We were several years trying to get rid of that situation. And we ran into such financial difficulties that we had to go to Virgin. I mean, this is a bit boring, so I'll speed up talking about it. We had to go to Virgin to borrow more money to get out of that legal mess. And the only way they'd loan us more money is if we agreed to sign for more albums. So you can see how we had this continual steamrolling problem.
You were sort of locked in a vicious circle.
Very much so. But we've recently, as of about 6 weeks ago, broken all of those vicious circles, finally. Mm-hmm. And over the last 4 years, I've been storing up one hell of a lot of songs for our next album or albums. I'm sure that we would like to put out several simultaneously.
So does this mean you have already sealed a deal with somebody else? Or?
No, we don't. We're still fishing, and we're getting some great offers. Funnily enough, the worst offer that's come in is from the new Virgin, because there's now Virgin 2. Uh-huh. And they put an offer in, and it was completely as bad as the original Virgin deal. So I guess, everything Richard Branson touches turns to crap for everyone else, really.
Well, Now, this vicious cycle you were stuck in, it's as much Virgin's fault as it was your manager, or do you chalk it up to your own naivete at the same time?
Well, it was absolutely our naivety that we signed the record deal that we did and signed with the manager.